You are looking live at the Hershey Park Stadium. Aliquippa out of the west. They're the champs, 14-0. Mount Carmel, 12-2, or 13-1 rather. Champions coming out of the east. We're going to take you right to midfield here. We'll meet the captains, and our referee today is Randolph Janaszak, and he's going to talk to the captains about the do's and don'ts of this AA final.
Aliquippa, you won the toss and elected to receive, correct? Yeah. Mount Carmel, you want to defend the scoreboard, correct? Switch around, please. Let's signal it. Over here with me, Aliquippa. Start the first half. Aliquippa will receive. Shake, guys. Aliquippa has won the toss.
It's Mount Carmel and Aliquippa. Good afternoon, everyone. Jed Donahue along with Mark Shuey. The coach, Gary Sutton, working the sidelines. What a first day we had yesterday with Rochester winning the Single A championship, and we had an epic last night in AAA, Strathaven winning 31-28 against West Allegheny. Today, absolutely beautiful. Temperatures 30 degrees, winds, well, left to right there, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Also, we welcome everybody on the World Wide Web at PIAA.org, where we are streaming video for the first time ever of these 2000 PIAA football championships. And we're going to take you around to the sights and sounds of this Hershey Park Stadium on this splendid sun-splashed afternoon in December for this AA championship with our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose but bright and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we won, were so gallantly and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, stage eyes, that star-spangled banner yet to wave. For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Beautifully done there. Mount Carmel, Aliquippa, two of the more storied names in high school football. Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary, what's the condition report down on the boundary with you today?
Well, it's a little windier today than it was yesterday, Jed, but the field's in great shape. They worked on it here all night, and so we're all ready to go down here. There's something special about this championship when two towns of such storied note get together, riding such traditions into this particular game. Jed?
Got a lot of Division I guys in this game. We'll talk about their stories as the afternoon unfolds here. Mark, Mount Carmel, it's an even-numbered year. They've struck gold in all of them since 1994.
Yeah, that's right. They've been very successful in the even-number year here in the state championship games. 1994 defeated Forest Hills 20-14 in an epic battle that went double overtime. 1996, Mount Carmel defeated Tyrone 25-6. 1998, a victory over Shadyside Academy in a most impressive win, 44-7 for Mount Carmel. The Red Tornadoes were here last year, weren't so successful though. Tyrone defeated Mount Carmel last year, 13-6, but the Red Tornadoes are right back for a possible fourth state title in the last 6 years.
Vince Yashenchak with the kickoff. Going to take a weird wobbly roll. Jonathan LeDunn with it, and LeDunn's got positive yardage across the 30. Or he is taken down by Jared Kolarski, a 5'8 junior for Mount Carmel.
Offensively for Aliquippa, as we look at their offense, Quinier Gaskins is a quarterback. He's got all of one game of experience. He was 5 for 7 in the Western Final last week. He's a substitute quarterback. Josh Lay, their fine quarterback, broke his hand in the WPIAL Final. Garris Wilcox, 1,000-yard rusher for the Aliquippa offense. And there's Monroe Weekly, Ellerby, Haskins, great offensive line.
Weekly is probably the best of the bunch there. Our eyes, Gaskins under center, drop the snap. Let's see who's got this. That's anybody's game down there right now. And I think Aliquippa finally fell on it.
Well, there you see a quarterback who only really has one game of experience under his belt. And that's one of the keys here for Aliquippa, I think, will two things. Not get behind early. Aliquippa doesn't want to have to play catch-up with Gaskins, who has started only one game at that spot. There's the Mount Carmel defense, Cuff, Swank, Booker, Brown.
That's Zura, and of course, John Veach. He'll play both ways. We'll talk about him more when he's on offense. Well, the second play of this game right here. Gaskins under center. Aliquippa has so many weapons, Gaskins. Going to throw for the first time, and he's going to get dropped in a big-time way. In on the sack, Nick Burster, a junior, 6'2", 255.
Nick Burster coming right in here. The fullback has the responsibility of picking up the block. And Carl McBride just lets Burster get right back at him and make the sack. It's a big play defensively on the second play of this ball game for Mount Carmel's defense.
Well, last year, Mount Carmel kind of in a similar situation. They had Dave Shinsky making only his 5th start for Nick Sebas. And then they had the high wind variable, and Tyrone finally won the state championship a year ago, 13-6. Third down and a bunch, 19 exactly. Quick handoff Wilcox, and there's nowhere to run as Mount Carmel just crawls all over him at the 19-yard line. Big tackle made there by Steve Matzura, the sophomore.
There we're going to see it again. Matzura meets Wilcox right at the line of scrimmage, wraps his legs around the leg, wraps his arms around the leg, and brings down the speedy Wilcox. Wilcox ran for nearly 2,000 yards this season. In fact, big game today, Wilcox could go over 2,000 in the season.
There's Matzura right there. Quentin Good to punt. Kalia and Veach are deep. It's a low-line drive, and Mount Carmel better get out of the way, and it's going to be great field position for the Red Tornadoes, although it does take a roll for Aliquippa all the way back to the 47-yard line. So that will be where the Mount Carmel offense. Let's have a look at the Mount Carmel offense that will be in play here this afternoon in this AA final. John Veach, he's the big tailback. Over 7,000 career yards, one of 5 running backs in Pennsylvania State history to get there. Shinsky, the great sophomore. Kaliha is a great split end, and Yasinchak is a 3-year starter at tight end in their offensive line. We'll get to momentarily. Here's the first play. Veach the motion man. They'll bang Ziegler, and there's not much room there as he is taken down by Drew Ellerby. 6'6", 280 for Ellerby.
I'll tell you, he is a load up front. There's the Mount Carmel offensive line. They're going to have their work cut out for them this afternoon. As you saw, Drew Ellerby, 280 pounds, and he's going to be tough to handle. We're talking about Randy Swank, Nick Cuff, Matt Bucher, Dave Shoppy, and Nick Burster rounding out the Mount Carmel offensive line.
Here's Shinsky going to pitch to Veach, and Quentin Good's got him for a loss back at the 44. Well, Quentin Good is a great two-way performer. He's coming in out of his safety position right there. And there's the Aliquippa defense. Monroe Weekly is a linebacker and is an absolute load in there. A Division I prospect, 6'2", 240. Their secondary may be one of the best that you're going to see in the AA level. A big reason why they're 14-0. Bernard Josh Lay, he is one of the top cover guys in the entire state. Penn State, Pitt, and all the majors are looking at him.
A lot of speed to burn in that defensive secondary for Aliquippa, as you saw with the great play by Good.
There's the tail of the tape as Shinsky steps back on 3rd and 18, looks over the middle, throws, got Kalia all the way down to the Aliquippa 43. It's close to a first down. It'll be an interesting decision ahead for Mike Brennan. Let's check in with Gary Sutton. Gary looks about a half-yard shy first. Let's have a look at Shinsky in the pocket here, Mark.
Shinsky got a lot of poise for a sophomore. Takes his time, waits for it to clear the zone, find a seam behind the linebackers, put it right on the money.
Kalia 39 catches on the year. Gary?
I think you're likely to see a punt here. They are about a yard short, actually, and it's a good yard. I'll be surprised they go for it, but I've been surprised before. Here we go.
Right, Mike Brennan saw the way his defense played in that first series. Says, hey, let's try and get this game by the throat. They'll run their all-stater Veach. He didn't get there. I don't think. It's all a spot here. Monroe Weekly was there along with Justin Ledun, 6 foot, 185-pound defensive end.
Number 63 linebacker Monroe Weekly. He's got Division I scholarship offers, boxes and boxes full of them. He started getting D1 scholarship offers as a sophomore. Well, There you see why. He's going to be shading Veach all day.
Let's listen in on this with the referee, Randolph Janaszak.
Yes! Yes! First down the other way.
Wow. Big break, Aliquippa. So both defenses with some sterling efforts here early.
Okay.
7:49 left in this opening quarter. Delighted to have you on the network of champions, the Pennsylvania Cable Network throughout the state. Third year here with football already. Aliquippa going on offense for the second time with Lanier Gaskins. He'll bang Wilcox. He's into the secondary. Big hole. It's a foot race to the 30, and he's caught from behind at the 22-yard line. A big pop by Jarris Wilcox. He's got a ton of yards on the year, and you can see why. A gain of 35.
1,933 yards on the year coming into this ball game. Fake handoff to the up man. He's hit just beyond the line of scrimmage, but keeps his legs moving. Look at this juke move right here on John Veach. He doesn't make too many mistakes like that. John Veach out of his free safety spot. Mount Carmel defense coming back. Big run, big play by Aliquippa.
Came in with 1,849 yards on the year, and you can see why as he blows it open there. Handoff, Wilcox again, step around move, more yardage, and he flies across the 10 to the 9-yard line. It's a gain of 11 or 12, and they're running behind Monroe Weekly on that left and right side. He is banging it open. There he is, number 63.
Same play, once again, exactly. Ran through the same hole. It was open.
He pulled out of there, Mark. He went right to left and sealed it off. First and goal at the 9 for Aliquippa. One thing about Mount Carmel, they thought they might be susceptible to the run. They bottled it up early. Now Wilcox gets it. This time they have it sealed. Aaron Ziegler is in on the stop. Also blowing it up for Mount Carmel was Nick Cuff.
Well, this is a huge drive for Aliquippa as we look at the run stopped at the line of scrimmage. This is a huge drive for Aliquippa. They do want to establish the run game. They don't want to fall behind early. If they can get a lead with the running game, they don't want Lanier Gaskins to win the game necessarily out of the quarterback spot, although he did have a fine game in his debut last week, but they simply don't want Gaskins to lose it.
We'll isolate Weekly for you, number 63 in white for Aliquippa, and just give you an idea of just what a load he is, and a timeout here for Aliquippa as they want to talk things over. They're second and goal now from the 11-yard line. This gives us an opportunity to visit in with Gary Sutton. Gary, you're going to have an interesting story between quarters for us. The Veach family has a lot on their minds today.
Well, they do have a lot in their minds, but they're all here except for the one girlfriend, and that means Brett Veach is down playing in Delaware today. The rest of the family's here, but they're hooked up via cell phone. We're going to be talking with Donna Veach right after the end of the first quarter and find out a little bit about why the Veaches have been so prominent here at Mount Carmel.
Also, the 145th straight game today with a Veach starting.
How about that? The first family of football from the Mount Carmel area, the Veach family.
No question. Getting it done. It seems like we've been doing Veach brothers for years. Go ahead, Mark.
One area of concern here, I was looking at the Mount Carmel defense as they broke the huddle following this timeout. Number 31, Dave Brown, the sophomore nose tackle. Looks like he's limping a bit, favoring his right leg.
It's going to be physical. We have our field mics. You'll be able to really get a sense of the banging in there. There's Gaskins under center. How about this shift? Fly the two tight ends. It's going to be Wilcox. Well, after all of that, they just straight dive up the middle.
Well, they tried to spread Mount Carmel way out. They had Josh Lay way out here to the right. As you're looking at the Mount Carmel defense, just stopping it at the line of scrimmage.
Third down and 8 right now. 5:44. Here's Gaskins. He's going to get dragged down to about the 17-yard line. I believe that's Nick Cuff on him. Cuff 5'11", 205, and a big loss. Third down.
Yeah, watch Nick Cuff comes in, wrecks this play right away. He's into the backfield in a hurry. It's a 205-pound junior.
So let's go 5:15 here in the opening quarter. It's 4th and 15 for Aliquippa right now, and goal to go as Gaskins comes under center. Lone setback is Wilcox. Gaskins back, looks, throws into the end zone, looking for the tight end, LeDunn, and overshot him. Great coverage from PIAA. Just a note to the truck, we can hear that rewind in there in our headsets. There's no way of telling it other than that.
Yeah.
Scoreless here between Aliquippa and Mount Carmel.
Looking for Quentin Good, just doing a corner route, and the ball well overthrown. Coverage is right there at Kalia.
So Mount Carmel now 1st and 10 at their own 15-yard line. So the defenses have been the big story. Aliquippa had a good drive going. Here's Veach getting his first crack of the afternoon to about the 20-yard line, a gain of 5. Mentioned he's one of 5 ever to go over 7,000 yards. The last 2, Mike Brennan of Fort Cherries at West Virginia. James Mungro, East Stroudsburg, is at Syracuse.
Veach is just a special player. I'll tell you what, and he's got his work cut out for him today. Aliquippa's defense has only allowed 2 100-yard rushing performances in the past 2 seasons.
Dave Brown, they're looking at him over on that Mount Carmel sideline. Handoff Ziegler, he finds the going tough. He's got maybe 2 or 3 yards, and again, that play blows up. Monroe Weekly in on the stop again for Aliquippa. Also in there is Quentin Good. And let's give credit for Carl McBride.
Yeah, this defense, a lot of speed defensively for the Aliquippa Quips. Great lateral pursuit. They plug the middle up. Their defensive philosophy is the front 3 guys just stand up the line of scrimmage, occupy the blockers, and let the linebackers and safeties fill in the holes to make the stops.
Zura and Kalia and up to one side. They'll hand off Veach, trying to get to the outside. I don't think he got there on 3rd and short. Dragged down from behind. Again, Carl McBride is there.
And Justin LeDunn also coming in, too, from his defensive end position. Deep handoff. McBride, Dunn, wrapping him up.
So 4th and a yard, and Mount Carmel's going to punt. They went on 4th down in Aliquippa territory in their last series and didn't get there.
There's the great John Veach.
Aliquippa was flying after it. Short punt. That's going to be great field position here for the Quips as Mount Carmel downs it at their own 45-yard line.
The wind's coming left to right on your screen, so that was a tough wind to punt into. Probably dampened that ball a little bit. But Aliquippa will take over possession inside Mount Carmel territory at the 46-yard line.
I think the Aliquippa defense, got to say that's an early storyline. 3:14 in the opening quarter. John Veach, 4 carries for 2 yards. Here's Aliquippa going back on offense. Clark mentioned Quinier Gaskins making his first start last week in the West Final against Sharon. Here's Wilcox again, and there's just not much room to play with as he gets across the 45 to about the 43, a gain of 3.
Yeah, Gaskins did quite well at quarterback. An emergency substitution. He went 5 for 7 with 2 touchdown passes. And obviously good enough to get here to Hershey, beat a very good Sharon team.
Team with 5 Division I recruits.
Pretty tough when you go into the Western Final without your starting quarterback.
We'll be calling Lay's name. He'd play some at wide receiver, and he's definitely playing defensive back today. Here's Wilcox again. He's getting a heavy load out of that tailback spot. Cutback move, and he's got the first down. That's beautiful work to about the 35-yard line and a gain of 8.
Sure is. You talk about a running back's vision. So very important to the quality running backs. Here you're going to see it. Wilcox takes the pitch. He can see an opening right there. Stops, cuts back, finds his blockers, and found a seam, picked up positive yardage.
They're pulling Weekly over. You see them all the time in your screen on a lot of their positive runs here. Jonathan LeDunn lines up. He's on the bottom of your screen there for Aliquippa on 1st and 10 now at the Mount Carmel 35. So Bang McBride, the fullback, for a gain of about 4 or 5. Well, nothing subtle about that, is there?
No, just good straight-ahead blocking. Owned the line of scrimmage on that particular play. All the offensive linemen moving straight ahead. There you see Weekly getting a kick-out block.
Also Glenn Haskins, the junior.
Pick up a 5.
Fast-moving first quarter. Mike Brennan, head coach at Aliquippa. He's got 38 kids here. They've stuck together. They're undefeated this season and looking for a state championship here in AA. Wilcox again. This time Mount Carmel really covered it. I believe that's Ziegler in there. Ziegler is one of the really top flight players two ways in the state. He's a very underrated performer.
6'3",
Got a lot of experience.
210 pounds defensive end, just shook off a block. And I believe that was Weekly that he shook off and made the tackle in the backfield. Loss on the play. No gain. We'll call it 3rd and 5. There you see the Mount Carmel coaching staff. Mike Brennan, in his first year leading the Red Tornadoes, taking over from Dave Whitey Williams. Very successful program under Whitey Williams. Picked up 3 national state titles, rather.
Big 3rd and 5. Here's Wilcox trying to get to the outside, and he didn't get there. Kalia came in and blew that up at about the 29-yard line, so they're looking at 4th and about 4 here.
It's a big play out of your cornerback. Josh Kalia, number 2, comes in here, and he actually stops this first down. You're going to see him come up right there and make the hit. That's a textbook tackle. Right down around the ankles.
Well, they're 0 for 1 on 4th down so far in this opening quarter. Aliquippa, that is. Let's see what they've got here on 4th and 4. This is a little easier than the 4th and 15 they had a little while ago. Gaskins going to throw it up. And incomplete. I'm not sure exactly what that was. The idea was pretty good, but Mount Carmel just didn't bite on it at all.
That was just poor execution right there. Looked like the handoff was too much traffic for the handoff. He had trouble getting the ball out of his running back's gut there after the fake. Just not enough time to get it out there to Wilcox. Kind of an ill-advised throw, but threw it high, threw it out of bounds basically.
Well, Aliquippa looks very one-dimensional in that passing game, and that's going to be a real concern. Here's Shitsky back, looks, throws, threw a bullet that's dropped over there. Ronnie Lentini. You can hear our microphones picking up very animated conversations over there on the sidelines.
Well,
great job, guys.
This is a championship game. Emotions are supposed to be high in a game like this. As you look at Jarris Wilcox going both ways.
Nobody in shorts today, though, Mark. Usually this game, there's a couple of guys in shorts.
I bet there's some guys in the stands with shorts or maybe no shirts.
Craziness. Here's Shitsky, play action, throws down the middle, pass caught and dropped. That's a fumble. It's going to still go. Here comes Aliquippa the other way. It's Jonathan Ledon all the way to the 14-yard line. Aliquippa says that was not a catch. Looked like one here. We'll see it again, but Aliquippa with a first huge break in this game as Ledon returns the fumble 20 yards.
Now here you're going to see it. Is it a catch or is it not a catch?
Yeah, it's a catch.
Yeah, I
Both
think
feet
so.
are down.
Sure. It was just a good stick by Jarris Wilcox. And Mount Carmel looks like they got kind of caught flat-footed right here. There's the catch. There's the hit. Ledon with the big hit to jar the ball loose as the quarter ends.
Well, Gary Sutton is getting in place here with the Beach family history today. They got a lot going on. Brother Brett is playing for Delaware today against Georgia Southern in the Division I AA National semifinals. And Aliquippa is going to go on offense, start this second quarter here in really good shape after the 24-yard fumble return by Jonathan Ledon. Let's check in with the coach, Gary Sutton. Gary, what are you...
Playing for 145 straight games here at Mount Carmel, but a tough choice today. Brett playing the Delaware game and John playing here. How'd you make the choice?
Well, I had a lot of help making the decisions. A lot of my friends said, you know, got to be with John. You were there with Brett when he completed his high school career, so we really think you should be with John, and that kind of helped me. But this is Brett's semifinal national championship, so we're really hoping to, trying to root Delaware on here, so we want to get to see Brett in Tennessee next week.
It's been a storied and special time at Mount Carmel, not just for the Mount Carmel people, but for the Veach family. What's it meant to you?
Well, football's been a big part of our lives, so it's meant a great deal. You know, my husband, and all three sons, it's meant a great deal. Hard to put into words. I'm just happy that the team was able, my sons were able to represent the team and the community in such a positive way.
Well, a few more games left to play in college yet, too.
I certainly hope so.
I'll let you get back to the game here. Thank you very much, Mr. Veach.
Thank you.
Chet?
We're going to keep that play on file there. I think Aliquippa may have taken too much time. Guys, I think let's go to the referee right now, see what the foul is.
Substitution on White.
Another substitution foul. We see that on so many levels. Let me know and cue me when we do have that play. This is what sent Aliquippa up the 24-yard fumble. It looked like they had it right on the field all the way.
There you're looking at John Veach. 7,000 yards in his career at Mount Carmel. Very good student as well, 1,300 in the SATs. Looking at Stanford, Northwestern, a couple of other Division I schools.
You know, this guy's carried the ball over 350 times, has only lost 52 yards from scrimmage all year. It's incredible. He heads north. First and 15. And off Wilcox. And, you know, they're just putting 9 guys loading up the box right now. And there's another flag down. Not sure how they're going to unsort this. We'll obviously have the verdict for you momentarily. But Aliquippa, their inability to throw. Here we go.
We have the face mask against red.
That's a big one.
That hurts.
Big time. Because Mount Carmel has this running game figured out, I think, for the most part.
And in this play, they had the play stopped. It looked like the face mask came in very late.
All right, here's the play that set up this Aliquippa field position.
Grabbing the face mask on red. Still first
There it
down.
is. Both feet are down, and that ball came out. It's bang, bang. But, again, no whistle. And you got to give LeDunn credit. He says, all right, I don't hear a whistle. Play continues. On I go.
Like I said, I think the Red Tornadoes got caught flat-footed, kind of looking at the play, waiting for a whistle. And LeDunn was tearing off downfield.
Definitely looked like he had control and both feet were down. I'm sure the Mount Carmel verdict would be different. And see that, and Aliquippa's going to use a timeout. But, you know, Aliquippa, 8 minutes they had the ball in that first quarter and no points. And, again, if they can't get anything established in the air, Mount Carmel could load up the box here and just, you know, say, all right, here we go.
Right, yeah. You know, one of the keys, I think, for Aliquippa is they've got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of Josh Lay. Josh Lay is just a great talent. Here we're going to look at this crucial play once again.
Yeah, that's out.
There's the big hit.
That's correct call, no question.
Yeah. Big hit by Quentin Good to jar the ball loose.
Once that, you know, here's the deal. It's not like the NFL where both feet have to be down. With one of our coaches up here. Here we go on 1st and 11. That face mask gives it an automatic first down. Here's Gaskins on the run. Going to keep it himself. He played wide receiver before he had to do the emergency quarterbacking duties here, and he gets it all the way to about the 9-yard line.
Yeah, Gaskins and Josh Lay basically just switched positions a game ago in the Sharon game. There, play fake, and he's keeping it the whole way. Good speed on the Aliquippa side of the ball. Like
Good play by Matsura for Mount Carmel to pin him out.
Got to contain, got to string these guys out.
2nd and 5. The ball at the 9 for Aliquippa. We're in the opening moments here of the second quarter. Motion man is McBride. Gaskins fumbled the exchange again. Does Mount Carmel have it? I think Gaskins finally got back to it, but barely. They're going to give LeDunn credit for the recovery.
Yeah, Jonathan LeDunn came in on it. A lot of red jerseys around that, though. Number 81, LeDunn, finally comes up with it there for Aliquippa, as you can see. That gets to be a man thing down there in those piles. That close to the goal line.
Mark. Look at Gary Sutton, who's right on the line of scrimmage down there to get a feel for what he's seeing. 3rd and 8. There's a loss of 3 on the fumble, but they did maintain possession. Quick handoff. McBride dragging a couple of people with him all the way to about the 7-yard line. Tackle is made for Mount Carmel's Dave Shoppy.
Just a straight-ahead dive with the fullback, McBride following the beef up front. Straight-ahead blocking. Nice little hole. Closes very quickly, though. Dave Shoppy on the tackle for Mount Carmel.
Here's their 3rd, 4th down play in this first half. And they're going to use their last timeout. Mike Smiatic is just really upset, the head coach for Aliquippa. We get a close-up on that, Coach. We can see him with his offense. He came out to meet them.
Yeah, it looks like they've had some execution problems. They had too many men on the field. We've seen a couple of fumbled snaps. Maybe guys aren't lining up in the proper formations that Coach Smianik wants to see. So, yeah, he's going to go down there and talk to them, straighten things out at this crucial spot in the ballgame.
Let's go down to Gary Sutton, get an idea from Coach perspective what's going on in there.
Well, from a coach perspective right now, he's very impressed by the other side's focus and not too impressed by his team's focus right now. He wants Aliquippa to get focused in. You talked about Gaskins. Here's a guy that's used to thinking like a wide receiver. All of a sudden, you've got to focus as a quarterback. It's quite a change in there, and that's one of the reasons we've seen a lot of fumbled snaps today.
Here they go. Third time on fourth down. They're 0 for 2 so far in the opening half. And
Josh Lay's at quarterback.
They're bringing Josh Lay in. He's playing with a broken hand. Fumbled snap, and he's going to get gobbled up. Nick Cuppy hurls it forward for Gaskins. Oh, what a play that is.
Wow.
Whoa.
Whole lot to talk about here.
I don't know how you describe this. Go ahead and you try.
Well, there you see the effect of that broken hand. It is his throwing hand as Josh Lay, a great quarterback, great athlete, just tries to make a play right here with the world kind of spinning around him. He got caught up in a red tornado right there. Tried to get the ball out to Gaskins. It was the fumbled snap, picked it up, and he sees Gaskins out here kind of like a safety valve for some help, just trying to punch it in.
That was Nick Cupp forcing the issues. They go back to live action with Ziegler, and he's only got about a yard.
You know,
he's hit by Ossie Foster.
We saw Josh Lay taking a couple of snaps in the pregame warm-ups. And Coach Smianik said after the Western final that there was probably no way that Lay would see any action at quarterback because the action of snapping the ball into that hand was just too tough, and it hurt the hand. But in that crucial situation, he elected to go with his best athlete on the offensive unit.
Carmel only got a yard. They'll go to Veach again, and he's chopped down immediately. Boy, Aliquippa, it's Jonathan LeDunn. What a first half this young man's having for Aliquippa. He's been all over the place.
This is a fast-moving linebacker right here. Jonathan LeDunn, 6'1", 185 pounds. He comes flying in like a bullet. Makes a big hit in the backfield.
Aliquippa's just totally thrown the keys away on the Mount Carmel running game. There's Coach Smianik. He's the man with the silver mustache. He's intense. There's Monroe Weekly to the left. LeDunn. They had 6 yards total, Mount Carmel, so far on the ground.
Wow.
Stunning number. Shinsky back to pass. The stop-and-go route, looking long, and it is broken up beautifully. Pass intended for John Veach, and Garris Wilcox with him step for step, and I think Veach is hurt. There's no interception down there. It's incomplete. It's John Veach who's hurt over there on the 49-yard line. Did he catch that? I mean, it looked like it hit the ground.
They're calling it Aliquippa ball. It's an interception.
All right, well, I didn't see it, so I apologize.
Here we'll see it again. Shinsky back to pass.
The big story is Veach hurt over there on that sideline. Gary, you can get down there and find out what's going on.
A lot of air underneath that ball. Gives defenders plenty of time. Comes off the belly.
Well, no wonder it hit
right
his
into
foot.
the face mask. That's right. Never touched the ground. Great call by the officials.
I thought that was the ground. That was kind of screened off by the bench. There's John Veach, and that's
the big story. Yes,
absolutely.
That was a very nice catch. I mean, good call, too. That ball never touched the ground, hit the belly of the defender.
I wonder if we get an end zone shot of that and see exactly what happened. There's Veach. Hopefully he's all right.
At least he's sitting up now.
One of the great players this state has.
In Pennsylvania high school history. Here you're going to see it again. Oh, yeah.
Right off the foot.
Came down funny on that right ankle. Gary's absolutely right. I think he was kind of backpedaling. Landed awkwardly on that right ankle. Not going to speculate, but...
Go down to Gary Sutton. Gary, this is something, again, we talked about this last night in the Strathaven-West Allegheny game about the medical staffs here.
They're right on top of it, Jed. It's right ankle. Doesn't appear to be too serious, but he's in some pain right now, but he is moving on his own. I think he's going to get back into the game.
Lay stays in at quarterback, playing again with a broken hand, throws a crossback pass to Quentin Good. Good still alive, cutting forward, still going for a gain of about 8 or 9 to about the 40-yard line. So 2 turnovers now against Mount Carmel, although the Shinsky bomb did work like a punt. Here's Josh Lay.
There's the toss to Quentin Good. Makes a nice move around the linebackers, heading out to the middle of the field. Josh Lay can do a lot of things from the quarterback spot. One of the better ones in the state.
Playing with a broken bone in his hand. It's obviously his left hand, not his throwing hand. This time the option, the ball is loose. Still loose, and Mount Carmel covers it. And again, that's the risk you take when you're playing with a broken hand.
That's exactly right. There again, he's taken, what, 3 snaps? He's fumbled 2 of them so far.
Great hit in there for Mount Carmel.
It's a great block to get Lay out of the way, yeah. So
I think it's Nick Cup that got the fumble.
His mates can come and jump on the ball, but yeah, that's tough when you're a quarterback and you've got to handle that ball. Kind of hand that's freshly broken. Broke it a couple of weeks ago in the PIAA Championship game. Broke it trying to make a touchdown-saving tackle. He succeeded. They did not score. Blitz.
Blitz is coming. Shinsky breaks out of that. PIAA dropped it on the way through. Tell you what, Aliquippa is really intimidating a little bit on defense, and I think PIAA heard footsteps.
Wow, the linebackers, McBride and Weekly, came in a hurry. Here you're going to see Shinsky. He doesn't have a whole lot of time. There's Weekly and McBride coming in from the right side. Yeah, I think PIAA did hear some footsteps because you got a lot of Aliquippa defenders right around there. And
Ossie Foster was ready to bring the hammer. Hand off Ziegler, nothing there. He's hit right as he hit the line of scrimmage. Was done in on the stop again for Aliquippa. So it'll be 3rd. We'll call it 8 here. Want to remind you that you can find this game on the World Wide Web at www.PIAA.org. We are streaming video of the 2000 PIAA Championships for the first time. Aliquippa trying to hold out Mount Carmel now, 3rd and 8. Shinsky back, looking, now under the gun, and he's going to get dropped at the 46-yard line. The pocket collapses there, and they're going to have to punt again.
I'll tell you, this Aliquippa defense is very, very impressive. Last week against Sharon, as you're looking at Shinsky, nothing doing. Pocket collapses, great coverage in the secondary, and there's nowhere to go. The defense of Aliquippa just shuts the door. Last week against Sharon, this Aliquippa defense shut down a great rusher, Carmel Parchman. He's gotten over 2,000 yards in the year, and quarterback Mike Schneider was very ineffective as well.
Shinsky, high snap, barely got it out of there. It's a 9-iron shot. That's going to go out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. So Aliquippa, good field position, and again, Mike Smianek with an interesting call. Let's go down to Gary Sutton for an update on John Veach, who I believe is back in this tilt.
Well,
Gary?
He walked off the bad ankle here, Jed. He just came back into the game this time on defense, and so John Veach is in some pain, but he is playing at this moment.
20-yard punt there by Shinsky, who's fortunate to get that out of there. It's a high snap, and Aliquippa was coming for it. So he's going to keep laying a quarterback. They had a fumble the last time. They fumbled 3 times, but they covered the first 2. Here comes Wilcox to the outside, nothing doing. Ziegler and Matzura combine on the stop there, and he may have lost a yard.
Boy, this is the antithesis of last night's AAA contest. Strathaven and West Allegheny, both teams were flying up and down the field. It ended up 31-28. We've got a scoreless tie. The defense is really dictating tempo here. 6 minutes to go before the half.
Lay is back, his second pass of the game. Throws for Gaskins, incomplete. He was under some heavy-duty pressure. Blitzing in there was Aaron Ziegler.
Yeah,
again.
and Josh Lay took a shot. Aaron Ziegler blitzing in from his linebacker spot. You're going to see it right here. Lay, play action fake, hides that ball very well. Very good athlete. Look at Ziegler coming in there. Good hard hit from Ziegler. Ball sails out of bounds, but Josh Lay took a shot. Here you're going to see it from the end zone. There's that hard hit from that hard-hitting linebacker, Aaron Ziegler.
He's got the cast on his throwing hand.
And he's still
close up of that, and he's still throwing it halfway decent, but he doesn't have the control that he'd obviously like. Throwing, ball is tipped into the air, and then it finally hits the ground. There's a ricochet rabbit ball right at the line of scrimmage. And Mount Carmel's defense is beginning to really turn up the volume here, Gary. They're dominating, and they're just not intimidated at all with any kind of aerial threat from Aliquippa at this point.
I think it might have been Jave Shoppy that got a mid on that. Just took one step back, tried to drill it to the receiver.
Carl McBride will punt. It's a low line drive that just falls at about the 48. So we're playing this game in the middle of the field. It's defense, defense, defense here. Let's go back to Gary Sutton. They worked out Beach pretty quick down there on that Mount Carmel bench, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. Again, you talked about the sports medicine. They were right on top of it. He walked it off for about 2 offensive series to kind of get back into the game here. He appears to be okay right now, but I've got to tell you, he was really wincing as he was walking around here on the sidelines. We'll keep an eye on that.
There's your time remaining in the second quarter. Delighted to have you on a gorgeous sun-splashed afternoon as Ziegler pops out of there. He's got 5 and 10 all the way inside the 40 and a rip of about 14 yards and a first down for Mount Carmel. This is the best thrust they've had and best surge up front.
Single setback. That's Aaron Ziegler. Veach was split wide left, just straight ahead blocking, and Aaron Ziegler uses his power to get through the line and pick up another first down for Mount Carmel.
That's their first down.
First down
of the half and of the ball game.
Wow. Referee's timeout. There's Aaron Ziegler.
We get an equipment repair for one of the officials. We'll have Erie Cathedral Prep later for you today against Central Bucks West. CB West looking for win number 60 in a row. The Quad A Championship game. The main event at 5. It's the main event in AA right here. Mount Carmel back again. Here's Ziegler. He's nudging his way to about the 35-yard line. A gain of 4. Well, again, this is the best the Mount Carmel offensive line has looked. It's a young line, but a very talented one.
And nothing fancy about what they're doing right now. Just straight ahead blocking. Power football.
Mount Carmel's only loss this year to Selinsgrove. Selinsgrove, a quarterfinalist before losing in AAA to Manheim Central. There's Aaron Ziegler right there. He may have to carry a little heavy load. John Veach turning that ankle a little bit, although he's dotting the I now.
He's in the backfield now.
Now he's all by himself. We'll see if he gets the call. 2nd and 6 here. Shinsky back, looks, blitz coming. McBride, he got out of that. Now throws on the run. Matsura's got it for a first down to the 24-yard line.
May have a late hit, too, on the Aliquippa defense.
There's going to be a roughing call. We'll go down and get the verdict on the field.
There you see Shinsky. Yeah, watch this block by Veach right there. Excellent block.
That's the first down. No,
Shinsky keeps
15
his
yards
feet.
from there. It's 15 yards from the end.
Yeah, 15 yards from the end of the play. Sorry, Mark.
Roughing the passer. White, that's an automatic first down.
That's just a great athletic play by Dave Shinsky. Great block by Veach up front. Got the blitzing linebacker. Shinsky kept his feet, found his receiver, Steve Matsura, cutting across, picks up a first down plus the 15-yard penalty. And Mount Carmel has their best field position of the day. Ball on the Aliquippa 12-yard line.
So Mount Carmel trying to break through here. Their deepest penetration of the game. Pitch to Ziegler, who's run well in this series. And he is run down from behind. The tackle is going to be made by Justin Ledun. 3 of them in this game. Justin, Nathan, and Jonathan.
Well, the Ledun boys have done a lot here in the first half defensively. Been all around that ball. There you're going to see it. Bringing Aaron Ziegler down from behind like that with one arm is not an easy task. That's a strong young man to do that.
Quick handoff. This is going to be Veach coming through, but Quentin Good didn't buy it. And there's a loss on the play. I got to think of a yard or 2.
Yeah, Quentin Good. There you see that defensive speed. Quentin Good coming up from his cornerback spot. Watch this. Comes up here like a rocket and just shuts the door. That's a great open field tackle on John Veach.
George Zurich is keeping the book up here. We got Steve Trees as well keeping track of tackles. 6 carries for Veach. 0 yards.
That's astounding.
3rd and 12 as Shinsky. Draw play. Ziegler, it opens up for him. Ziegler trying to get 3 inside the 5. It's got a first down, I think. He's close. 3rd and 10 for Mount Carmel. 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 3rd and 10 for M What a run by Ziegler on 3rd and 12. Nick Cuff, big kick-out block to free him up.
Yeah, there is
into
a
the
big
secondary.
kick-out block right there. Great block by Nick Cuff. Watch the vision here from Ziegler. Uses his block downfield very effectively. Cuts to the far side and picks up additional yardage. There's that great block on the left side. Now watch this. Lets his block set up.
He's short. He's a yard shy, and Mount Carmel's going to call a timeout. This will give us a chance to visit with Gary Sutton down there. Gary, what do you see?
What I see right now, Jed, is with all the focus on John Beach coming in, Aaron Ziegler, the forgotten man with 893 yards this year, 14 TDs coming in, has become the guy with the flashlight and the spotlight on him right now. And Mount Carmel's figured it out. They're riding him in for a touchdown if they can.
Well, Mount Carmel in their longest drive, 7th play coming up of this game. 2:37 to go till halftime. And Mike Brennan in his first year has come in, established his own identities. Whitey Williams built this up in the 90s. One of the storied programs, 4th winningest high school program in the country.
703 victories since football was established at Mount Carmel in 1893. And there's the man in charge of running it right now, Mike Brennan.
I don't think anybody's in Mount Carmel today or up there. I mean, everybody is here. Even see some Southern Columbia fans.
Looks like the Red Sea beneath us.
Both those communities support each other in these situations. It's just been like a football festival. What a great atmosphere here in Hershey today. Chinsky handoff Ziegler, and I think he's nudged his way for the first down. Gonna be close. Why don't we listen in on the measurement here? Let's. We've got the referee Randolph Yanishak. Mike,
We're going to measure that, fellas.
Gary, you're down there. You think he's got it, so.
No, I think actually Aliquippa's going to get it here if the spot is where well, we're going to look straight across. Now I'm looking
at it. All right, let's eavesdrop in on this.
Back it up, guys, if you want someone up here.
Got it.
Got it. That's the first down. First down.
Must have been close. The referees even had to huddle to discuss a little bit.
Real close. Good job down in the truck. To the referee, Mike, so he can bring you inside the game a little bit. So their goal to go at the 2. Sorry, Gary.
The length of a good Chad.
Aliquippa will spread the field out, but they're going to bang inside with Ziegler, and he got maybe a half a yard. LeDunn and Monroe Weekly are in on that. Can't be impressed enough with the way Weekly looks on both sides.
Boy, the going's really tough in there. That Aliquippa defense, Ozzie Foster, just a sophomore, 210 pounds, really plugged the hole right there. Drew Ellerby, he's tough to handle at 280 as well. That is really tough to get some positive yardage running against those two fellas.
There's Monroe Weekly right there, number 63 for Aliquippa. 2nd and goal. They're at the half-yard line. Handoff. Ziegler has done much of the work in this drive. Touchdown, Mount Carmel. And taking a 6-0 lead with a conversion coming. 1:36 left in the opening half, and a long march for the Red Tornadoes into the end zone. Aliquippa's had so many solid opportunities in the opening half, but they've been turned away. And how about Ziegler's work in that drive?
I'll tell you what, that drive was all Aaron Ziegler.
9-play, 51-yard drive in 4 minutes. Simchak is in for the conversion, and it is good. So 1:36 left till halftime, and Mount Carmel with a big drive to take the lead. Well, they mixed it up very well in there. Ziegler, 11 carries now for 37 yards.
Sophomore quarterback Dave Shinsky engineered that drive. Kind of a baptism by fire last year as a freshman. Shinsky played in this ball game against Tyrone.
What is the penalty about? There's a flag down. Let's check out our referee.
Personal foul against Aliquippa. Decline. Point is good.
I don't know. Guess they're not going to assess that on the kickoff. Sometimes they do that.
Last year, Mount Carmel was forced to go to freshman Dave Shinsky as starting quarterback. Nick Sebas was injured. Sebas did play in the championship game, but not at quarterback. Shinsky is a true freshman. Raw freshman playing at quarterback in the championship game. Did quite well, but came up short against Tyrone. He's going to be a good one. Just
He's got great. We're talking to some of the coaches that are up here, and they really believe that Shinsky is not only major D1, but they love his release and just his poise and his IQ for the game. Got great quarterbacks in this whole weekend, really.
Yeah, it's like having a coach on the field, yeah.
2 last night, and Connor and Palco, West Allegheny and Strathaven, respectively. Taskey for Southern Columbia.
Speaking of quarterbacks, it's going to be interesting to see who takes the snaps for the Quips on this next possession.
Gaskin started late, playing with a broken hand has played. They're going to look in, they'll squib it. It's a live ball, gang. Look at this, going to be Dwight Hines, and he is just swarmed at the 28-yard line. Tackle is made by Ron Lentini. So underneath a minute, well, a minute and a half exactly now, as Aliquippa will go back on offense. And it's Josh Lay again, his 3rd series. And again, he is playing with that hand wrapped. Broke his bone making a touchdown-saving tackle in the WPIAA final against Waynesburg Central. Lay back, throws, gets it out to Gaskins, who started the game at quarterback, but has played a wide receiver much of the year, and he's got a 1st down. They'll stop the clock to move the chains, a gain of 10.
The quick hitter to Gaskins, straight ahead blocking. Play action fake. Gaskins, 2-step drop. Quinier right off the line of scrimmage, hauls it in, picks up a 1st down.
Aliquippa, though, working with no timeouts. They had to use a lot because of miscommunications on 4th down in this 1st half. Motion man is LeDunn. Gaskins, quick handoff for Wilcox. Wilcox had one big breakout run of 35 yards. Other than that, Mount Carmel has been able to bottle him up, and they do there for a gain of about 3 or 4 as Aliquippa going no huddle here.
Jarris Wilcox right here. Delayed handoff, finds a hole, but it's shut down very quickly by number 21, Steve Metzora, linebacker.
After live action, you see Lay under center. Warren King now going to throw a little crossing route, and it is picked up by LeDunn. They say it hit the ground, almost intercepted by Vince Yusenchak. Also doubles as a tight end. Great linebacker.
Yeah, here you see Yusenchak dropping back in coverage, staying home, almost picked it off, hit the ground before it bounced up into LeDunn's hands. Referee right there to point that out. It'll be 3rd and 6 for Aliquippa. There you see Yusenchak, 6'1", 215-pound junior.
Wind a little bit more of a factor than yesterday, but still absolutely beautiful out here. Now Gaskins is in a quarterback under heavy pressure, just hurls a 50-50 ball. Lay is there, and it is dropped incomplete. Kalia was there on coverage. 26 seconds remaining till halftime. It's 4th and 6 now for Aliquippa.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
The punt, right?
Well, to get your best player, the ball into the hands of your best player, and that's Josh Lay. They wanted a big hitter right there. Here you see Quinier, Gaskins, big arm. And just trying to get the ball down there to his best player on the offensive unit. That's Josh Lay, trying to make a great player make a great play.
Low punt, and it's going to go all the way down to the 32-yard line. Well, Mount Carmel has 2 timeouts, but there's only 14 seconds left in this half.
There you're looking at Ozzie Foster. He's done a tremendous job in this 1st half of play. The Aliquippa defense. Foster, Ellerby, Haskins, LeDunn up front.
And they're going to take a knee, and that's going to do it in this 1st half. I want to thank everybody that's involved in today's state finals, and a big thank you as well to the cable companies that are carrying the Pennsylvania Cable Network, bringing the sights and sounds of today's 2000 PIAA Class AA Championship here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, your network of champions. Delighted to have you with us this afternoon here in Hershey. 7-0 Mount Carmel leading Aliquippa as we come to halftime in a great first half, especially by both defenses. Mount Carmel using the long drive to get the lead. We'll have the first half highlights, statistics, and other stuff coming up after this timeout.
Welcome back to Hershey Park Stadium. We are at halftime as Mount Carmel leads Aliquippa 7-0. Good afternoon to you. Mark Shuey along with Jed Donahue and Gary Sutton. And as you can see by the scoreboard, we've got a defensive struggle going on here at the Hershey Park Stadium. Mount Carmel 7, Aliquippa nothing. The only touchdown coming a minute 36 before the half. First downs fairly even. Rushing yardage, everything's pretty even there as well. Turnovers, here's the big difference. 2 for Mount Carmel, 1 for Aliquippa, and penalties. Well, game got a little sloppy and chippy there at the end, but I'll tell you, this has been a tremendous defensive game, and of course, we're going to see some of these highlights where the defense really has been showcased throughout the first half of play. We're going to start out. First big play of the ball game was a 35-yard run from Jarris Wilcox, number 2. He came into this game needing just 67 yards to go over 2,000 for the year. Jarris Wilcox gained 35 on that particular run. He has 60 on the day. Now, we're going to see a fumble recovery. Watch this. Here's some athletes here. Dave Shinsky, Mount Carmel quarterback, going down, hitting his receiver, but look at the big pop. The ball comes off the foot, and it's picked up by Ladon, Justin Ladon of Aliquippa. Mount Carmel kind of caught flat-footed there, waiting for the referee's whistle. They weren't really clear if that was a fumble or it was a dead ball. It was a fumble. Aliquippa deep into Mount Carmel territory at that point. Now Mount Carmel stops Aliquippa on 4th down. There you see Bernard Josh Lay in at quarterback. We weren't expecting him to play quarterback today. He's got the broken hand. That was his first snap of the day. Very tough to handle. And that was a 4th down play snuffed out by Mount Carmel. Here's the lone touchdown. It's Aaron Ziegler going in from 1 yard out, capping a 9-play, 51-yard drive that took 4 minutes off the clock. And that is the lone score of the ball game. But defensively, look at this stuff. Here's Aaron Ziegler, and he is hit and stopped. That's big number 73, Drew Ellerby, 280 pounds. And the real estate has really been tough there between the tackles as Aliquippa and Mount Carmel defenses are really pitching shutouts here this afternoon as the lone touchdown, Aaron Ziegler, with a minute 36 to go in the half, and that is the difference in the ball game at this point. I believe the coach, Gary Sutton, is on the field, and Gary, always coming up with something interesting. Gary Sutton.
Is the retired in April as the chairman of the board and very instrumental in the new Giants Center, which is opening in the year July of 2002. All right, let's break this baby down. It's 7-0 Mount Carmel, and we'll get Gary's thoughts as well. But Mark, what do you think about this first half? What are you thinking here?
I think if you're Mount Carmel, you saw some good things at the end of the first half of play. Mount Carmel looks to me like they may have neutralized
back and forth ball.
The team speed of Aliquippa's defense. Yeah, let's hear the officials.
Mount Carmel, 2 choice. You want to receive the football? Aliquippa, which goal do you want to defend? Kick into the wall. You want to defend that goal? Switch around, please. Mount Carmel to my right. To start the second half, Mount Carmel will receive. Shake hands, folks.
Aliquippa will go against the wind in the second half of play. Yeah, in the first half of play, I thought Mount Carmel did some things very well offensively towards the end. They neutralized the team speed of Aliquippa's defense with some quick hitters to the fullback, Aaron Ziegler up the middle, and a quick drop passing game. Now, for Aliquippa, I think you've got to find some offensive rhythm. It's been very tough. They've got a quarterback with only 1 game of experience here in the state title game. We saw some miscues from Gaskins. They elected to put in Josh Lay. He's their starting quarterback all year. He's got a broken hand. We saw the effects of that broken hand. He really can't take a snap cleanly. He has very much difficulty throwing the ball. So somehow, some way, they've got to find an offense and a rhythm to that offense. Garris Wilcox had a pretty good first half of play, but if you're Mount Carmel and your defensive side of the ball, you're going to key on Garris Wilcox.
Yeah, it's not like he left you a whole lot of time here, but soundbite me a little bit on what you think both coaches are talking. Let's go to Aliquippa first.
I think Aliquippa, they're talking about get organized in the offense. It was a real tough first half offensively. I think on the other side, let's see what John Veach can do the second half, and there you go.
We're underway in the second half. Senchak, the tight end, short man, he's still flying around. He's into the clear. Got a block. 45, midfield. Huge return all the way to the Aliquippa 44-yard line. Senchak, 6'1", 215 pounds. 29-yard return.
And a
Big
great
time
block.
Start for Mount Carmel.
Watch this great block on the right side of your screen from Josh Clea. Here's
Kalia really let him go.
Yeah, watch this block. This really made things happen. It was a nice run until then, but here comes Kalia right there. Number 2 lays out a nice block.
Well, the LaDunn boys, Justin and Jonathan, have combined for 8 tackles, 4 apiece for the Aliquippa defense in that opening half. It was the Aaron Ziegler show on the touchdown drive. He has 11 carries for 35 overall. John Veach nursing a sore ankle, and that's why we're seeing Jared Pilarski right now, a junior.
Here comes Veach.
And Veach is back, but Gary, he went out in that second quarter on that long pass play, or rather in the first quarter, late first quarter, and has 6 carries for 0 yards in the opening half.
They've been using him basically as a diversion so far. It worked, I think, for the touchdown that Ziegler scored. He became the workhorse of that whole series. So Veach only in good right now as far as being a diversion or a decoy. We'll see if he has a little bit more mobility as we get ready for this next play.
Loss of a yard for Pilarski on that last carry as Dave Shinsky, the great sophomore quarterback. Under the gun, looks, loading it long, looking Kalia, and it's intercepted by Lay before he goes out of bounds. That's why he is a sensational prospect at the next level. Considered the top defensive back in Pennsylvania by most recruiting analysts, and he shows you why with just sensational footwork on the boundary.
Yeah, that's right. Watch the footwork and the tremendous athleticism. He not only tips the ball, he has the presence of mind to come down with it and keep his feet in bounds.
Oof. He is playing with a broken bone in his throwing hand.
Here it is again from the end zone. This is just a great athletic play from Josh Lay. Look at the tip, too.
That's with his broken hand. Gaskins will start the third quarter, and there's nowhere to fly for Wilcox as he's met head on. I think that's Nick Cupp in there. Cupp is only a junior and reminds many of Jason Malakowski, who played on the '98 state championship team, who's at Rutgers now.
Yeah, look at Nick Cupp. Fights off the block from, that's McBride. The fullback, McBride.
That was an M&M or a mismatch.
That's a big league play from Nick Cupp.
Is there a planet they shop on for guys like that? I mean, we've seen 7 or 8 of him, haven't we, since '94 when they won it the first time?
It seems so.
Loss of 2 on the play as Aliquippa's going in reverse here. Wilcox, handoff from Gaskins. Nothing doing. There's just no rhythm to the Aliquippa attack offensively here. They had that one surge where they got, I believe, down to the Mount Carmel 12-yard line, or to the 9, and stalled.
Look at that. Dave Shoppy right there filling the hole. Defensive tackle for Mount Carmel. Making the stop, 3rd and 12.
They are 0 for 4 on 3rd down. They're 0 for 4 on 4th down so far. We're in the 3rd quarter, and Aliquippa's pinned up near their own end zone as Gaskins drives. Get a pair of touchdown passes last week. Looking downfield for Dwight Hines, and it's underthrown right up near that 38-yard line. Pretty good coverage downfield, though, for Mount Carmel.
Very good coverage, and this is a very tough task for Gaskins. Quinier Gaskins, he's the backup quarterback. He's throwing into the wind. He's throwing across his body on the roll. Back to the goal line. That's just a tough task. It's going to be a tough place to punt from, too. That wind has picked up a little bit.
So Mount Carmel's looking at pretty good field position, but again, Aliquippa has forced a few turnovers in this game. John Veach and Kalia will drop deep. Going to be a slow roller, and Mount Carmel's just content to let that just drop dead at about the 35-yard line. Good kicked at it. That's going to be where Aliquippa has to scratch in defensively. And Mount Carmel, again, talk about field position. They've had plenty of good stuff to work with today.
They sure have. Those are dangerous punts when you're punting from your own end zone into the wind. Those line drive kicks, you just hope they don't take a crazy hop and hit one of your own men in the back or in the foot, and then it's a live ball all of a sudden. Mount Carmel setting up shop at the 35-yard line.
Double wide receiver set to the top of your screen. They'll bang Veach in. Not much there. Monroe Weekly stamps him down. Check that, Drew Ellerby. Ellerby's a handful. 6'6", 280.
Yeah, that's right. I don't care who's lead. I'll tell you what, that's a tough task to block Drew Ellerby at 280 pounds. That task fell on Matt Bucher. He's given up about 75 pounds right there to Drew Ellerby.
Boy, John Veach, that was a gain of maybe a yard. He has found the real estate tough to come by. They're going to play action. Lashinsky again looks. Yasinchak, the tight end, got it. Maybe a little bit short of a first down. Gain about 8 on the play, and Jarris Wilcox punched at that ball trying to knock it out of there, and it was a good play by Yasinchak.
See, these are the things that work for Mount Carmel so well in the latter part of the first half of play. Just a quick passing game, play action pass, get Yasinchak beyond the linebackers, quick hitter.
What a throw by Shinsky. I mean, he just put that right in there. Like a fastball, 3rd and short. They'll bang Ziegler for the first down, and he crawls to about the 27-yard line. Well, Ziegler has been their most effective weapon in the running game so far.
Yeah, here's another quick hitter that I was talking about to the up man. Quick handoff to neutralize the speed of that Aliquippa defense.
This is a huge possession in this game, Mark. You get a feeling if Mount Carmel can get up by more than 2 scores, that Aliquippa really would be facing a monstrous uphill battle. It's a lot of pressure with his field position to put on this defense over and over again. Shinsky play action, looking, has time. Now he runs out of time at the 30-yard line. Carl McBride through the front door with authority.
Yeah, Carl McBride, outside linebacker, came in virtually untouched to Shinsky's backside. Shinsky really never sees him. No, he did fight off a block.
So big loss on the play. It's now 2nd and 17.
Shinsky not seeing the blitz from the backside. Linebacker Carl McBride.
That's the second time Shinsky's been sacked today. That was a covered sack more than anything. Now I think there's some movement up front. We'll let the referees sort this thing out, and while they do, let's check in with Gary Sutton. Gary?
Well, you know, you talk about Shinsky, great sophomore quarterback. He's going to be one of the great ones, Mount Carmel, before he's done. But you watch the sophomores right now, and you know, the great quarterbacks that become seniors have that sixth sense. They kind of know when people are coming in on them. Shinsky right now kind of sets up, gets those feet in concrete every now and then. He's done it twice today, and he's paid for it both times with sacks.
So it's 2nd 22, Mark. Twos are wild there. 7-0, Mount Carmel on the big board with 7 minutes left.
Offensive line moved a little bit early for Mount Carmel that time. Carl McBride coming on the blitz once again from his outside linebacker spot.
Double handoff to Leon and end around. Aliquippa covers it well. Kalia is still going. Positive yardage across the 30 to about the 28-yard line. A gain of 6. The right idea, but Aliquippa stayed home defensively there.
Gain of 6, could have been a loss of 6. Good athletic move by Kalia. He shakes 2 tacklers right here. There's the reverse. Kalia's coming up here, and you're going to see him shake a tackler right here. And then again, downfield right there. That is 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Kalia turns it up, uses his field vision to turn it into positive yardage.
I want to remind you, we are streaming this game on the World Wide Web at PIAA.org. Again, PIAA.org.
3 wide out right.
Here we go, see if they can stream for a first down. Shinsky back, looks, throws it on a line, got a man out there, it's caught. Mandela's first down to the 9-yard line. Huge play there, a gain of 16, but Shinsky had that ball in the air for about 35 or 40. What a seed that was.
Shinsky has plenty of time. His offensive line giving him a nice pocket. Gives Medelis plenty of time to run his route, sitting there waiting for the toss. Good hard dart from Shinsky.
And he's got that kind of arm, doesn't he?
Mount Carmel, yes, he does. He throws a nice ball. First and goal from the 7.
First and goal from the 7-yard line. Officially an 18-yard pickup there for Mount Carmel, and goal to go. That's Sarah going in motion. They'll bang Veach to the corner. Veach trying to get out that way. Nothing doing. Great play. Josh Lay strung him out. Also over there for Aliquippa, who else? Justin LeDun, one of the leading tacklers in this game for Aliquippa.
And Monroe Weekly. They're really stringing out the tailback. Veach may be a step slow due to that first quarter injury. However, Aliquippa's defense, really great lateral pursuit. Very tough for Mount Carmel to get to the corner.
We'll get to Gary and ask about that throw, because that went right in front of him. He's down near that 8-yard line. They're at the 6. Quick handoff. Ziegler, big hole, pounding through for a touchdown. Ziegler is in, and that is a huge score for Mount Carmel. It's now 13-0, and Aliquippa, struggling on offense to get anything done, now has a 14-point mountain to climb pending the outcome of the conversion. Gary?
Well, you know, between the tackles right now, Mount Carmel has found the secret as they run Ziegler in the middle. The lateral speed to the outside that the defense has for Aliquippa is stopping everything. But you got to be impressed with Ziegler between the tackles, and that blocking up front's been stupendous.
8-play, 35-yard drive, 4 minutes, 27 seconds. And that's blocked. That's big for Aliquippa. You take any positive thing you can build on, right, Gary? That's how a coach looks at it when you got to come from behind.
I think Mount Carmel came out the second half and thought about positive. They had a chance to take the win the second half and go into it, so they had the win coming home in the fourth quarter. But they also thought about, I think, going up 2 scores, and that's exactly what they've done right here. They've gone up 2 scores. The win's still on their side and 4:57 left to go. It's a field position game. They'll be going into the win in the fourth quarter, but with a little bit of luck, they might have at least a 2-score lead.
There's the guy that's found the end zone twice today, Aaron Ziegler.
You know, we mentioned an unsung hero, over 800 yards total on the year on the ground. Well, you are an unsung hero because Veach, deservedly so, is getting a lot of the publicity. Veach will start his college tour at Northwestern on January the 5th. But Ziegler, you know, one of these guys, a 3-year starter, just you win with guys like that, obviously.
You sure do. And John Veach has had one of the great careers in high school football history in this state. Now, what happens when Coach Mike Brennan watches Veach get dinged up in the first quarter? He's got a tender ankle. You know, he's got to kind of take him out of the game. Things aren't working. The lateral speed is not there because Aliquippa's defense is much faster. So what's he do? Throws a curveball. Sends some quick hitters up the middle with his powerful Aaron Ziegler. He's right there to answer the charge. 2 touchdowns on the day.
Kick. They'll let that. Now they said let it go out. But it's picked up by Quentin Good. Now Good's trying to string it out to the outside. Can he get the corner? Yes, he does. It's a long run by Good, who finally runs out of time at the 38-yard line. So he runs 58 yards to get how many, George? 20. George Zurich, our stat keeper.
Even as fast as Quentin Good can run, that took a while to develop. Quentin Good right here. His teammates are yelling, let it go out of bounds, let it go out of bounds. They're taking it at the 35, but he elects not to. See some things he likes, an open hole. Takes it all the way over here. He's going to the far sideline. He ran sideline to sideline. That's 50 yards and then some. That's not the upfield yardage. That's just the lateral yardage.
Josh Lay is into the game now in a wide receiver position. He's got single coverage to the bottom of your screen there. Gaskins. Handoff goes to Wilcox. Wilcox positive yardage, about 3 or 4 yards. That's about it before Mount Carmel gobbles him up at around the 44-yard line. Tackle is made by Yasenchak.
Aliquippa wants the front line to establish the blocks. Delayed handoff to freeze the linebackers. Hole opens up for Wilcox. Rambles through for pickup of about 5 on the play.
Wilcox again off the power toss, and they're all over him again. Aaron Ziegler is there to blow it up at the 40-yard line. A loss of about 3 or 4 coming up here for Aliquippa. They have just done absolutely nothing on offense since the first quarter.
Aaron Ziegler having a monster game out of his defensive spot as well. Look at that. He was blocked by 2 men. And as he was on,
cleaned it up.
As he was on the ground, he grabbed Wilcox's leg and held him. so Booker could come and make the tackle. Great play by the defensive end, Aaron Ziegler.
Gaskins to throw. The blitz is coming. He's in all kinds of trouble, obviously, and he's just going to run out of bounds. They're going to have to punt. It's fourth down and Breezewood for Aliquippa at this point.
Yeah, that's about right. Randy Swank, Matt Booker, these guys, they collapse the pocket right away. And Quinnier Gaskins really has nowhere to go. And this is a good heads-up play. Just scamper out of bounds. Don't try to gamble.
Force the issue, right?
Don't try to gamble and force the issue and possibly create a turnover.
Beach and Kalia will go deep. Going to be Beach fair catching at the 40. Check in with Gary Sutton. It's got to be frustrating for Mike Mianek, the head coach at Aliquippa. They just cannot get out of the driveway on offense now.
Well, we said at halftime, Jed, organization was the name of the game. And when you have a team as defensively disciplined as Mount Carmel, and you're not organized, you got a guy at a quarterback that's just a little bit off his game. I think you're going to see that all afternoon. And right now, they can't really figure out what's going on at all. I'm a little surprised they haven't come back to a play that worked early, where they faked the dive to McBride, 2 straight plays, and then gave it off to Wilcox. See if they come back to that a little bit later.
You'll get a feeling, Mark, and you can expound on this here in a while as they go to Ziegler, that the Aliquippa defense may have to create the offense. They're going to have to make a play.
Well, that's right. Carl McBride, he's been making plays all day today. Number 42 out of his linebacker spot. Stayed home. Watch this. One-on-one tackle. Fights off a block, and there he is. Boom. Make the tackle on Aaron Ziegler. That's a great open field tackle from Carl McBride.
There's your time remaining. Carl McBride probably feeling the same way, trying to expound on that theory we have. Let's make a play. Let's get back in this game. Now Carmel in control right now with the ball on 2nd and 9. Shinsky back, throws, pass, dropped. Ronnie Lentini, he heard footsteps, and coming was Wilcox.
Yeah, Jarris Wilcox was coming hard out
with
of
a tune.
Yes, he was. Right off the hands. Wilcox right there to finish it up. Should he have hung on?
That's the one thing, the speed of the Aliquippa secondary. I mean, they can close with authority, as we have talked about. One of the best defensive backfields you'll find. A big reason why they're here in this game. There's Jarris Wilcox, over 1,800 yards rushing on the season offensively, and he's equally adept on that side. Little quick draw, Ziegler. He's been effective here, and he's got a first down as he pops it all the way to the Aliquippa 46-yard line. Ziegler has run strong. They need one of these guys, a mutter, and he's been perfect on this. Great call, great time.
It is a great call. This draw play, things opened up right in the middle of the field, and Ziegler took advantage. I'll tell you, he has great vision. He sees the hole, reads his blocks very well, picks up another first down. There you see Shinsky sell him the pass, and he hands it off to Ziegler. Good blocking up front. Nick Cuff and company.
Mount Carmel's converted their last 3. Got offsides against Aliquippa. Jumping off was Ozzie Foster. They were 0 for 5 in the first half on 3rd down. They're 3 for 3 here in the 3rd quarter. A big reason why they've taken over the football game, leading at 13-0. There's a young man with a big future, Foster. He's only a sophomore. Let's get the call.
Dead ball foul. Encroachment on White. Still first down.
These quick hitters to Aaron Ziegler, defensive line of Aliquippa. That's their responsibility to stack up the offensive line of Mount Carmel and stop those things. They may be getting a little anxious right now.
That's Zero's your motion man. Pull the red tornado, and they'll bang Beach. Got a big hole. Look out. 20. Goodbye. Touchdown. Beach, 41 yards. A stick of dynamite, and it just went off. And Mount Carmel's up 19-0 now as their All-American candidate gets into the clear. What a block up front as well. He was untouched.
Up back, Aaron Ziegler leading the way. Hole opens up for Veach, and there Veach uses his fine speed, scamper into the end zone, 41 yards, and a 19-0 lead. I'll tell you, Rod Frisco, the fine high school football writer for the Patriot News, had a great quote in today's paper in Harrisburg, and it said, John Veach is the kind of runner that can turn an 8-yard gain into an 80-yard gain. And right there,
Ooh, high snap for Shinsky. He's got to try and keep it. I don't know if this is by design. Throws it into the end zone, and Quentin Good steps right in front of Pilarski to break it up. But Mount Carmel leading at 19-0. We'll see if we can see this Veach run from the end zone. See if you've got that, gang, down in the truck. Here it is.
Here it is. John
runner.
You see in the blocking up front. Look at the size of that hole opening up. And I'll tell you what, John Veach doesn't need half of that hole in order to get positive yardage. I'll tell you, that was a freebie for John Veach. Goes virtually untouched, 41 yards into the end zone. One of the great high school careers in Pennsylvania football history. John Veach, this is his last high school game for Mount Carmel. As Jed said,
he was minus 2 yards before that run. He's now at 39 for the game. He's got 9 carries for 39 yards. He had 8 carries previous for -2.
Jed said he's probably going to continue his college career at a Division I school, looking at Northwestern, possibly Stanford. Also
Penn State's on the list for a visit on January 12th. Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary?
Well, you know, they haven't had much luck so far running laterally today, but Mount Carmel certainly found it between the tackles with Ziegler and Veach. Veach finally able to ignite some of that speed. And you talk about the move to take the win the second half. It's really paid off for Mount Carmel as they sensed a little bit of blood in the water, and they have made Aliquippa pay.
MCA, Mount Carmel area, and their fans, I don't know if anybody's in town. If you are, delighted to have you with us. Most everybody's here. Wilcox trying to get to the outside and is slammed down. Pilarski got up to him. Scott Hutko was chasing him as well.
Well, if you're Aliquippa, you've got some very good, very talented athletes on the offensive side of the ball. If I'm Mike Snianek, I try to find a way somehow to get the ball in the hands of Josh Lay.
Maybe a reverse, do something, and I think Lay's going to play quarterback.
He's just a playmaker.
But again, he's throwing with a broken bone in his throwing hand, his right hand.
Yep, Lay's in a quarterback.
Well, they're going to go down swinging. Lay is a great basketball prospect as a Division I type talent in that sport as well.
Point guard for the defending state champs.
Going to throw it misdirection. We'll see if this works with Wilcox. Gets to the outside and now gets some blocking. Wilcox good after the catch. Got a flag down. Wilcox going to break into the clear. He's going to score. It's a 52-yard, 62-yard score, but there was a flag down at midfield. But this may come back.
Yeah, it looks like we may have a hold down there at the 50-yard line. Walk in the back. Yeah, Yasinchek gets up a little bit slow, the tight end and fine defensive end for Mount Carmel. He may have got hit from behind. We're going to see it here again.
Heck of a run by Wilcox, though.
Look at him hide that ball on the hip. We have an illegal block in the back above the waist against White. We repeat, first down.
That's the block they're talking about right there. It's Monroe Weekly.
First time Aliquippa has gone to the screen today.
I do believe we're going to see a second and third one, though.
Yeah.
This is a great run by Wilcox.
There you're going to see, there's the block in the back.
61, Andre Hunter, not Weekly. So, great camera work, gang. So we everything there. He's a takedown of like a 35.
Kinnear Gaskins back in at quarterback.
They're going to try and stop and go with Lay, and he's underthrown.
Well, that's exactly what Coach Smianek's doing. He's getting Lay into this ball game offensively. Josh Lay, you mentioned he's a great athlete, point guard for the basketball team, defending state champs. By the way, his name is actually Bernard Lay, but everybody's called him Josh for years. Why? Well, when he was born, his mom was reading the Bible, liked the name, gave him the nickname Josh.
There's your time remaining in the third quarter. Jed Donahue, Mark Shuey, the coach, Gary Sutton, delighted to have you. Sonny Hershey here for this AA championship on the Pennsylvania Cable Network.
Lay back in the quarterback.
Yeah, switching it around. Now he throws it. Quentin Good. Going to get yards after the catch. Mount Carmel just zoning up defensively, keeping it in front of them, the speed that is. And Gary, there's just no room to operate for Aliquippa here.
Well, what Aliquippa's going to right now, though, Jed, is a nice short passing game. We saw him open up with the screen. Now we saw him a little pass out into the flat right there. So what they're doing is with Lay having problems with his hand, they decided to go back to the outside and go short. Seems to be working out a little bit better for them. Look a little more organized this set.
3rd and 2 for Aliquippa as we're into the final minute of this 3rd quarter. Lay back under the gun. He's going to run out of trouble. The crowd's really into it, as you can hear. Now Lay throwing it up for Gaskins, incomplete. Well, that's just sheer athletic ability that kept that from being a huge sack. It sure was. 4th and 2 for Aliquippa. You might as well go for it, right? Down by 3 scores, 19 to nothing.
You got to admire the composure of Josh Lay. Watch this. You've got 4 or 5 Mount Carmel defenders chasing him. It looks like a red picket fence coming up here right along the side of Josh Lay. And he almost made the play.
So it's 4th down and 2. 32 seconds left in this 3rd quarter, 19 to nothing. Look at his Wilcox on 4th down. He's got it to midfield.
That's a big play for the Quips. This is a big play for the Quips. Deep pitch, Jarris Wilcox rather, following his blocking, good blocking, couple of good kick-out blocks there, pick up the 1st down.
Final seconds of this 3rd quarter. Jonathan LeDunn, the tight end, getting into position here right at midfield. Lay, quarterback draw. Tucks it under. Lay's got positive yardage and skips out at the 40, stops the clock. Obviously, they operate better. Lay has been their starting quarterback. This is just a tough break, literally, for them, that they don't have all their guns healthy.
I'll tell you, Josh Lay really sold that fake handoff very well. Look at him scamper for positive yardage, following his blocking of Quinier Gaskins out of bounds. Pick up a 1st down for Aliquippa. Now the Aliquippa fans are starting to come alive across the way. The Let's Go Quips chant starting.
Back is Lay. Looks, now throws it, and Good can't catch up with it at the 35, and that'll end this 3rd quarter of play. And Mount Carmel looks to be 12 minutes away from another state championship in an even-numbered year. They struck gold in 94, 96, 98. Lost last year in an odd-numbered year, 13-6 to Tyrone, but have this game by the throat right now, leading at 19 to nothing. Let's check in with the coach, Gary Sutton. Gary, what do you have for us?
Well, you know, it's interesting when you look at Aliquippa. The first drive, they've really gotten going the whole game that has any kind of organization to it. We talked about it, mixing up the short passes, using their athletes to hang on to the football with Josh Lay running it. And so a little bit of hope right now for Aliquippa as they turn around and start to head with the win here in the 4th quarter. But down by 19 points, it's a tough mountain to climb against a team that's only lost 1 time over the years in 15 state playoff games. And that was last year in the state championship to Tyrone, 13-6.
I think if you told Mike Smiatek yesterday that he would have John Beach at -2 yards on 8 carries well into the 3rd quarter, I think he would have liked his shot here. But Aaron Ziegler has stepped in and filled the void and then some with a pair of touchdown runs. And Shinsky has done just enough with a passing game to keep it honest. And Mount Carmel is really, they've impressed me very much so defensively. They've loaded the box with 8 or 9. And they've just dared Aliquippa to throw. They're just not intimidated by the air at all.
That's exactly what Mount Carmel has done defensively. They have made Aliquippa beat them through the air. Offensively, though, Coach Mike Brennan changed his game plan, and it was an excellent change. He went with the quick hitter to Ziegler. Neutralizing Beach, that was one of the keys to the game.
There's Gaskins back, throwing it over the middle. LeDunn's got it. The tight end inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. That was a pretty good rip from Quinier Gaskins, the quarterback. It's the most comfortable he's looked.
Justin LeDunn just doing a slant right across the middle of the field. And this is a great pass. Look at the spiral. Nice tight spiral from Quinier Gaskins. The coverage was there. That pass was on the money, threaded the needle between the 2 defenders. Look at this pass just sneak right in there, just where it had to be.
31 yards, right to the 9-yard line. 1st and goal to go for Aliquippa. They were down here on this end of the field in the 1st quarter and got turned away. Gaskins under center. He's going to play action again. Notice Josh Lay and throws it. Good, caught it. but it's not a Canadian football end zone, so it's incomplete.
That was a nice athletic catch by
North of the border, touchdown.
That's right.
USA, not a touchdown.
Nice athletic play by Quentin Good, all for naught, though, out of bounds. Quentin Good, 6'2", 180-pound senior. You know, Aliquippa has a storied football history as well, 11 WPIAL titles. The Aliquippa Quips won the state title back in 1991. Pretty good ball club. Has a couple of NFLers on that team. Ty Law and Sean Gilbert played for that Aliquippa team that won the state title in 91 by beating Hanover.
Motion man. They throw a quick hitter over the middle. Touchdown, Jonathan LeDunn. Nicely done on that drive. They're still alive. It's 19-6. Very important conversion coming. They might be going for 2 here. It looks that is indeed going to be the case. Lanier Gaskins getting a coach from Mike Smianek, head coach of the Quips.
Just a fine catch by LeDunn. Thrown just a little bit behind him. He bobbled it slightly. The coverage is there as well, but he found the seam. That was a nice pass, nice catch.
Now Carmel has missed 2 opportunities on extra points. Going to pitch Wilcox, double handoff now to Gaskins. He's going to throw for it. Throws it for good, I believe, into the back. Check that. That's going to be Dwight Hines. Incomplete. Let's go to Gary Sutton, who saw it. Gary, what do you got?
Well, you know, there's some T-shirts that they have at Aliquippa, and they say, shut up and play hard, or are you satisfied? They're pretty popular around the town over there. They're black and red, and it's kind of interesting. I think the coach said, shut up and play hard. Are you satisfied? Well, I think we saw in that particular series, they're not satisfied at all. Aliquippa takes the win and strikes back with their first touchdown of the game.
There you're looking at some of the Mount Carmel faithful.
There's a lot of them here, I'll tell you. They get such great support.
Only a little more than an hour to the Mount Carmel area, so
it's 6,700 for the session yesterday. Keep in mind that we're talking about this with Mr. McKinney at halftime and with Kevin Stump, the general manager, last night. 1 ticket gets you both games per day, which is a great idea. They're just really trying to expose this great tournament. Well, Aliquippa, that was a nice drive, 10 plays. Onside kick time, Mark? Too early yet?
Too early. Okay. Too early yet. Let's play it straight.
They'll squib it. Zimchak, the tight end, the sure hands people. He's already had a big return in this game of 31 yards earlier. Gets it to the 40. Now Mount Carmel back on offense. A deal here. Pound it. Move the clock.
Move the clock. That's right.
You're playing the clock. Gary, that's an old adage of yours. You find a time where you stop playing your opponent or you start playing the clock a little bit.
Well, I think there's an old rule in any sport you play. When you have the ball, they don't. And that's exactly what Mount Carmel wants to try to employ right here, that rule.
Shorten the football game as much as possible on this possession. They'll go to Beach. There's not much there. He has broken that 41-yard touchdown run, but Monroe Weekly on top. Monroe getting a little animated in there.
You can't, you got to beware. You can't go ultra conservative and just concern yourself with the clock, because you do a couple of 3 and outs, give Aliquippa the ball back, and they've got some athletes on that side of the ball where they can make plays. They can chew up yardage in big gulps if need be. Big play is capable here with Aliquippa. These guys can turn a big play very quickly. Another big play on the part of the Quips. This ball game's turned around a little bit.
Michigan, Miami of Florida, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State recruiting Monroe Weekly. This is Beach slipping through. How tough is he? And finally break the deal at the 49. Monroe Weekly holding on for dear life. There's John Beach right there.
One tough football player, John Beach.
His 58th start of his career today.
He finds the hole, closes very quickly. There's Weekly, Monroe Weekly hanging on, trying to strip the ball actually, which is not a bad play defensively at this point in the ball game. Aliquippa, as Gary said, they want to get that ball back as quickly as possible, trailing on the scoreboard 19-6.
Guess the ankle's fine if he's dragging 2 linebackers along for a 3-4 yard drive. Quick hitter Ziegler's had a fine day and a first down on 3rd and 1. Ziegler, nothing fancy. Beer and shot tough. Bang. First down.
Well, that shows you how big that run was by John Beach. That sets up this quick hitter from Ziegler, which has been effective all day long, and it continues the drive for Mount Carmel. The clock continues to roll.
Well, Mike Brennan took over this program from Whitey Williams, who's at Nazareth now. Came over from Pottsville Nativity, has created his own identity. And the beat goes on. Had a great team last year, Nick Sebas. And it comes through. Here's Ziegler again. This is where power football really starts at winning time in the fourth quarter. This is when it really gets tough on defenses.
Yeah, Randy Swank, Nick Brister opened up some nice holes on that right side of the line. Aaron Ziegler, watch this. You're going to see this right side of the line just open way up. Dave Shoppy. Also good blocking up there. Hey, the offensive line has done a tremendous job up front, opening holes up for Ziegler and Beach.
Here's Beach shifting through to the 35, a gain of 6. Well, Mount Carmel's just pounding nails right now, leading this thing 19-6.
You mentioned Whitey Williams took Mount Carmel area to 3 state titles in the 90s, 94, 96, and 98. Prior to Williams' tenure, Jazz Diminick, from 1962 to 1992, established a great program at Mount Carmel as well. One of the great football programs at the high school level in the entire nation.
No question. 4th all-time, as we talked about. Here's Beach again, positive yardage to the 30. Valdosta, Georgia, Massillon, Ohio, and Louisville Male High School in Kentucky are the 3 schools in front of Mount Carmel as far as all-time wins. Mount Carmel's looking at 703 and on their way to 704. Gary?
After this game's over, I think the backs for Mount Carmel will be taking Cuff and Bucher to dinner. Those 2 guys have been opening up such massive holes in the middle of that Aliquippa line all afternoon. It has been amazing looking at that from behind down here in the field.
They have been something to behold, no question. 19-6 our score. Quick handoff, Ziegler. He's down at the 27-yard line.
Tell you what, too, you got to think
the list all time right there. Pennsylvania's the only one with 5 in the top 25. Thank you, gang. Easton at 12, Berwick right there. Of course, that monster run that you and I have seen much of. Newcastle is here in this title game in 98 against Central Bucks West. Williamsport. Massillon, that's Paul Brown right there. One of the all-time great names, Louisville Male High School in Kentucky. And there's the Red Tornadoes right there mixing it up all time. We're at 4 minutes and counting on this particular drive. They're 3rd and 3. Oh, Beach got walloped. Monroe Weekly, one All-State candidate to another, and Weekly starts jawing afterwards. He better watch it or he's going to get ejected. The officiating crew will not put up with that.
No.
Unsportsmanlike against Weekly.
And it's a shame to spoil a great play like that. Monroe Weekly came flying through and laid a tremendous hit on John Beach. Take nothing away from the hit, but the actions after the hit certainly deserved the 15-yard
right
flag.
Down to the 12. We're going to check in with Randolph Janishak here, the official momentarily.
There's a dead ball foul. It's sportsmanlike conduct on White.
Monster hit by Weekly, I can tell you that. It was bang, bang in the backfield.
You saw it and you heard it. Coaching staff and Weekly taking a spot on the bench right now. Cool off a little bit. You know, in a state championship game, that's simply inexcusable.
Look at Shinsky. Down to Beach to the outside. Look out to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown. John Beach. State championship number 4 is only 6 minutes and 33 seconds away for the Red Tornadoes of Mount Carmel.
You almost feel as if John Beach willed himself into the end zone after the incident. Beach following his blockers, shakes a tackle here at the line of scrimmage. That's Carl McBride. trying to come up from his linebacker spot, and Veach scampers into the end zone for his second touchdown of the ball game.
8 plays, 60-yard drive. Took over 4 minutes off the clock. That's exactly what we were talking about. None of it in the air. Just pounding, pounding, pounding. Jack for the kick and good. Officially 9 plays, 60 yards, 449.
Hey, here's the hit on Veach from Weekly. And like I said, take nothing away from the hit. This is just a fabulous play by the linebacker, Monroe Wheatley. But what happens, Weekly gets up, will not let Veach get up, and there's a lot of trash talking going on there.
That's a 7th tackle of the half right there.
7th tackle of the half. Weekly, great game, but yeah, really cost his team right there. An inexcusable, unsportsmanlike conduct call. Set up Mount Carmel deeper into Aliquippa territory, and Veach moments ago scampers in for his second touchdown of the ball game, capping an 8-play, 60-yard drive. The Red Tornado now lead 26-6. There you see Monroe Weekly in the back there, number 63. You're going to see him playing on Saturday somewhere very shortly.
By the way, thanks to everyone involved in today's coverage of the state finals, and a big thank you as well to the cable companies that carry the Pennsylvania Cable Network, bringing the sights and sounds of today's AA championship here in the 2000 PIAA finals between Aliquippa and Mount Carmel to millions of Keystone State residents. Also for everybody on the World Wide Web today at PIAA.org. You are getting streamed video, streaming video for the first time. An onside kick. Who's got it? It's 50-50 ball. No unsort that, and it is going to stay Aliquippa. But again, at PIAA.org, we're streaming video of this and audio as well.
We mentioned earlier in the game, Aliquippa's defense is not allowed. They've actually allowed 2 1,000 or 100-yard rushing performances in the past 2 seasons. 1 this season, 1 last season. So far, Aaron Ziegler of Mount Carmel has 80 yards on 18 carries. John Veach, 88 yards on 14 carries for the Red Tornado.
Gaskin's in a quarterback, and I believe somebody in the neutral zone, not sure exactly. Here it is. Offside, Mount Carmel. Let's go to Gary Sutton. Gary?
You know, November 24th is known as the night of the goal line stand. And, you know, in Mount Carmel, where so much lore exists as far as football, it's one that they remember this year. It was a packed house at Kemp Stadium. They were playing against Lakeland, and Evan Crackey was stopped on the 7-yard line in a huge game, a goal line stand. Mount Carmel might not have even been here except for that big play. And then who else ran a 92-yard run back for a touchdown? John Veach. He's had 2 touchdowns here in the last 2 quarters to really try to salt this one away.
Which ironically broke the all-time PIAA championship record set last year in this game by Jesse Jones against Mount Carmel. With a screened away, dances up forward to about the 50.
Aliquippa trying to get the ball into the hands of Josh Lay. Lay can make things happen. He's a playmaker. Here Gaskins takes a quick drop, throws towards the sidelines, lays wide open, and he's knocked out of bounds.
Well, we thought one of the keys to this game was going to be their ability to do something in the air, and today they've had some success running little screen and maybe delay, but for the most part, Mount Carmel has shut it down. Now a quick hitter. This works for the tight end, LeDunn. They got a touchdown on that play earlier, and LeDunn has also gotten a big reception of 31 yards on it.
Yeah, that's a good
similar deal.
That's a good-looking play. Real quick play fake. LeDunn comes out of his tight end spot, drags across the middle. Ball's right there.
Going to hurl it long for Lay. Turns around, incomplete. Give Kalia a lot of credit. He's been hanging step for step with Josh Lay.
Yeah, that's not an easy task. Kalia just 5 foot 8 inches tall.
Well, Mount Carmel in control of this game, 26-6. There's Kalia covered, you know, right there.
That coverage is there, and I'll tell you what, that's one of the best athletes in the entire state, number 8 for Aliquippa, Josh Lay. Step for step was Kalia.
2 Joshes there, Josh Kalia and Josh Lay. Have a look right there at Justin LeDunn, a senior center. The Ledun boys have been tough today for Aliquippa. Clock obviously stopping there on that incompleted pass. Now Gaskins thought about that thing. Now he's going to throw it long. A bubble ball. Ledun turns around. Ball is still on the loose, and it finally falls down. Is that Gaskins? Yeah, Gaskins was downfield, so he's shifting around. That was Lay that threw that.
That looked like some schoolyard football. He's looking.
You go to the tree,
yeah.
You go over to the Dodge Dart over there on the, you know.
That's exactly right. Just waiting for some guys to break free.
You go to the street light and you hang out at the mailbox, and we'll see what we got.
Didn't look like a real precise play. Actually, I thought the play developed as that very effective play where they hit Ledun, the tight end, coming across the middle. Ledun was there, but he elected to go deeper.
Aliquippa's 0 for 8 on third down, facing 3rd and 10 at the 34. Back is Lay. Going to throw a comebacker, and it's dropped by Wilcox. Wilcox and Cuff get entangled. 5:46. Tell you what, Randolph Yanishak, the referee, I think he's going to gather some captains and say, you know, I'm going to start calling penalties and maybe throwing people out of this football game if this continues.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He was over there talking to the Mount Carmel people. I'm sure he already talked to the Aliquippa people after the weekly hit. Yeah, that's what's called preventive refereeing.
There's a lot of emotion in these kind of games, obviously, and you just want to... These officials do a great job keeping everything in check. It's been a well-called tournament. There were a couple of calls last night that were just brilliant. I mean, they had to make them right on the thing. We had the ability, obviously, to look at it 8 or 9 times. Gaskins fumbled exchange, gets positive yardage to 29, and then just gets popped there. Mount Carmel's hitting, they're flying, they're having fun. Gary, they know that they're closing in on another one here.
Well, they are closing another one. They were 15-1 coming into this game. They could be 16-1 in state playoff games. That's almost unbelievable. And the only loss, of course, we mentioned earlier to Tyrone last year. But right now with 5:39 to go, if they get that kind of first down yardage 3 times, this one's going to be out of reach.
Well, now they just keep it on the ground again. It's the same old MO, right, Mark?
Oh, absolutely.
Flags are down again.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Coach Mike Brennan, Mount Carmel, yeah, you're not gonna throw the ball at all.
Illegal substitution, White.
Things are starting to unravel for Aliquippa right about now.
That'll
frustrating point of the ball game if you're the Quips.
That drives a head coach out of his mind. Let's go down to Gary quick. Gary?
You know, it's funny at Aliquippa at the Pit, which is their home stadium. It's a 60-year-old bleachers built into the hillside. They have a lot of fun playing over there. They got fireworks before the game. They got signs for their 500th win, signs of championships. And Coach Zimjanik just said, hey, we just like to have fun. I'm not sure they're having as much fun right now as they might normally. Down 26-6, 5:39 to go, and Mount Carmel ready to start the march to a championship.
Did you see Bob Palco's quote in the his quote in the Harrisburg Patriot News today, saying, "Hey, losing a state championship game, if that's the worst thing that ever happened to you, then you probably had a good life."
That's exactly.
I mean, he just really wasn't like he was nonchalant about it, but Gary, you know, he's just saying nobody lost here. I think got this time out here.
You know, I'm reminded we had a chance to win a basketball championship.
Like Aliquippa. Sorry, Gary.
Had a chance to win a championship in basketball in 1987 against Winburn when I was coaching at Columbia. And one of the things that I'm kind of reminded of is you can't win or lose one of these things until you get into them. There's a lot of teams that would like to be here playing today and at least take a chance on losing. And right now, the fans get a little upset here. Aliquippa gets some tough penalties.
Aliquippa.
Yeah, Aliquippa's losing their cool right now. Some coaches on the field trying to calm things down a little bit. Like I said, this is a very frustrating point in the ball game for the Aliquippa Quips. Down 26-6, under 6 minutes to go.
That's a second unsportsman call against the Quips here.
Also, Mount Carmel coaches going out to tell their kids, hey, you know, just keep your cool. We're only about 6 minutes away from another state title. Let's just run the clock, stay within our game, keep our heads. Oh, you can hear the popping down there on the field.
They're serving me crow here in the box because on my simulcast show Thursday I picked Aliquippa. So all the Mount Carmel folks that are up here are more than happy to remind me of that fact. Another misfire on the prediction front by yours truly.
Well, Jed, you wouldn't be the only one that predicted Aliquippa could win this ball game. Very talented team, storied high school football tradition.
This is a great Mount Carmel club. I mean, they just really have impressed me as they always do. Shinsky, the sophomore quarterback, you can really see him just growing up before your eyes. And Veach, well, what can you say about him? 7,000 yards in his career. And there he goes again. 10 more to the total there in a first down to the 39.
He has had a whale of a ball game. Kind of a tough first half for John Veach. Negative yardage in the first half of play. Got dinged up. He's walking on a bad wheel. Here you can see Veach hit the line of scrimmage. Look at the vision here. Reads his blocks very well. Takes a big hit, but not before picking up a first down. Veach has a tender right ankle.
15 carries for 98 yards now for Veach. His first 8 carries, he's at -2, so he's picking it up, obviously, at a big 45 or 41-yard touchdown run. Here's Veach again. You can see the vision. Mark, you can describe this. This guy's head is always up looking for any kind of opening.
Yeah, it sure is.
That's why what makes him such a brilliant talent at this position.
And I'll tell you what, he's a shifty type of runner. He's tough to get a real good lick on. I'll tell you, he keeps his feet moving, moves his hips. He's great instincts from a running back. And like you said, he's got great eyes. He's got great vision. Reads his blockers very well. Can see the holes before they open up. Looking at John Veach right there. Like I said, one of the great careers in Pennsylvania high school football history. Over 7,000 yards.
Real quick for Ziegler. He jumps into the pile. Is that Monroe Weekly there? I believe it is. Let's go down to Gary. Gary, what do you got for us?
You know, Jed, you talked about Shinsky today, the quarterback for Mount Carmel, as he's walking over to the sideline right now. This kid's only a sophomore. I've been really impressed all afternoon. You talk about the eyes and the headlights, looking the field over, having some poise. This kid has a chance to be a great one. You look at the 6'4", 215-pound size. I mean, he is the prototype of a big-time college quarterback.
Pressed into service last year before they really wanted to as a freshman. Nick Sebas, the starting quarterback, injured.
Mount Carmel, I think Ziegler may have jumped out of his stance early there.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
So this will be against MCA. 5 yards, illegal procedure. Let's go down to Gary. You know, we've talked about traditions. We will tonight in the rematch at 5 with Central Bucks West and Erie Cathedral Prep. CB West, one of the storied. You'll see him jumping out early. But, you know, Gary, how do you start this tradition and keep it going when you're taking everybody's A-game week in, week out like Mount Carmel has been able to do and withstand over the last few years?
You know, you start it, you keep your towns together. Aliquippa, Mount Carmel, this is a town game. We talk about Erie Cathedral Prep pulled together by faith. We talk about a lot of the other jointures out there pulled together by townships. But when we talk about the towns that are playing like we have here this afternoon with Aliquippa and Mount Carmel, that's going to keep that tradition flowing for a long, long time.
That's a good point, Gary. And they're both very similar towns. Both coaches echo it. One's a steel town, Aliquippa. One's a coal town, but they're both small town, blue-collar towns.
Here's Shinsky. It's a dart across the 25 to the 23 and a first down for Yasenchak. He's a great tight end, only a junior, 6'1", 215. He's an all-state candidate at the position as well.
It's a great play call, executed perfectly by the quarterback and Yasenchak.
Well, it's got to be easy to run play action when you're freeze-framing John Veach, a guy with 7,000-plus career yards. Tends to accentuate what you're doing.
That will probably be the ball game with under 2:20 to go.
Quick handoff, Ziegler. Pair of touchdown runs today. Monroe Weekly gets him from behind. You know, Weekly, the unsportsmanlike call, but it, you know, it's not going to dent, you know, how impressed I've been by him.
I'll tell you what.
All the majors, Miami, Florida, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Josh Lay for Aliquippa. It's Arizona State, Penn State, Pitt, all the majors there. John Veach, Northwestern, Penn State, just to name a few.
Weekly and a lot of his defensive mates, especially the guys up front, Ellerby, Ladon, Haskins. These guys have all gone both ways today, and there has been some hard hitting across that football in the line of scrimmage throughout this ball game.
Little power toss. Here's Beach. Got Ziegler as an escort service, and he slides forward to about the 11-yard line. He's got a first down. No, we talked about his eyes and all of that, Mark. We'll get an ISO on him. I mean, his head is never down.
This is a great shot. He's coming right into your living room. Look at him follow his blocker of Aaron Ziegler and Nick Cuff really well.
And, Gary, if there's any light under the door, this guy's coming through it.
Well, he is. You know, I just saw Carl McBride do something really nice. He got up, he helped tackle Beach. He got up, pulled him up, and he kind of walked over, and he reached his hand out, and he patted him on the rear, and he said, "Hey, buddy, I really respect you. You've had a heck of a game." You know, that's what it's all about, too, sportsmanship here. And Carl McBride, number 42 for Aliquippa, exhibiting a real nice touch down here along the sideline.
Underneath a minute to go. Here's Ziegler pounding through to the 6-yard line. Mike Brennan, the head coach, he's not going to rub it in, but they'll probably have time for one or two more plays. They sense it. Get an idea. Their fans are on their feet here. Their 4th state championship in an even-numbered year. It's intact since 1994. We were there, that double overtime thriller with Forest Hills, where it all began in the new era. And it continues under first-year head coach Mike Brennan. Flags are down.
Illegal player or too many men?
On red. Yes, what? Yes.
It's a substitution. It all starts in August. 2 a day,
Illegal
8 days.
substitution on red. Still second down.
And only 2 teams get the 15th week. And this year in AA it was Aliquippa and Mount Carmel. Tonight, Erie Cathedral Prep, 5th nationally. Central Bucks West, 8th nationally. First time ever we've had 2 top 10 teams in the nation hook up.
On the Mount Carmel sidelines, they're starting to dole out some state championship hats.
Classy move by Brennan. They take a knee, and that'll do it. Mount Carmel has struck gold again in a very methodical, workmanlike 26-6 win against Aliquippa. And I think their defense is the one that really established. After that one thrust by Aliquippa, Mount Carmel area threw away the keys.
Aliquippa started the ball game, big 35-yard ride by Karis Wilcox, but since then, Mount Carmel's defense made the adjustments, played a huge ball game here at the Hershey Park Stadium. Speaking of adjustments, offensively, Mount Carmel made some great adjustments late in the first half of play. Started going to the quick hitters, to the fullback. Neutralized the speed of that Aliquippa defense, and it proved very effective. Continued that philosophy in the second half of play. At the end of the first half, Mount Carmel hung on to a 7-0 lead. Second half, Aaron Ziegler found the end zone again. John Beach found it twice. And Aliquippa and Mount Carmel, the game kind of widened from there. Mount Carmel, an even-year state championship once again. They won it in 94, 96, 98, and now in 2000.
And they've got a good group coming back, led by sophomore quarterback Dave Shinsky, will be a junior next year. Let's go down to Gary Sutton, get thoughts from the coach. Gary?
Well, Jed, you know, you're struck by tradition. You said, how do you keep on this, getting this tradition going over and over again? To keep winning championships, and that's exactly what Mount Carmel did here today. You've got to be struck by the power of the Mount Carmel line. You've got to be struck by Aaron Ziegler, who turned into the hero until John Beach could get that ankle figured out and then come back into the game and get 2 touchdowns himself. You got to figure it out with a kid named Shinsky, who's going to be a great one in the future, who did a nice job handling the controls here today. And you just had great organization on the side of Mount Carmel all afternoon and great poise. That all kind of adds up to one big championship. Mount Carmel, again, the champions here in 2000.
All right, and also invite everybody, PIAA.org on the World Wide Web. We are streaming audio and video here in the year 2000. So delighted, as always. A lot of thanks go out to the executive director of the PIAA, Mr. Brad Cashman, also Dr. Bob Lombardi, and there you see Mike Mianek. He's underneath that, gathering Aliquippa around. Team fought hard, but Mount Carmel up 26-6, and that's our final score. And the Red Tornadoes tradition goes on. When they wear the red, they strike gold and win a state championship. So that is our final score, and we thank everybody as well here at Hershey, from Kevin Stump, the general manager, Tom Stevens, and the gang, and our executive producer, Joel Bechtel. Great job, as always, by our WITF production crew. So we are going to, I guess, do the trophies. While we're waiting, we can remind you that this high school championship telecast is made possible by Pennsylvania cable television companies, which carry PCM on their channel lineup. If you like PCN's extensive coverage of high school sports finals, be sure to thank your local cable company for supporting Pennsylvania's championship network and giving these high school athletes a much-deserved statewide audience.
There you see Aliquippa with the silver trophy. They're not happy about it, but they achieved a lot this year. Very tough road they had to face.
Gaskins making his second career start. It was tough. There's Mike Brennan.
Yeah, giving his substitute quarterback a hug. Very difficult task for Aliquippa coming into a state championship game with a quarterback who only has one game of experience. Beat a very good Sharon team to get here. Gaskins, a nice game in that particular ball game, in his first game ever at quarterback. 5 for 7, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. But this tough Mount Carmel team really shut down Aliquippa's offensive plan.
There's Mount Carmel, another one for the trophy case. And Gary, there's no feeling like it, is there?
Well, absolutely. I mean, winning gold and coming in here and continuing a tradition, a brand new coach. There was some getting used to there. But, you know, it's the same old story for Mount Carmel. They keep piling them up. And again, I go back to organization, Jed. Great programs have great organization, and I think Mount Carmel is the living example of that.
All right, a lot of thanks as always. We mentioned with the PIAA from Brad Cashman, Melissa Mertz, also Dr. Bob Lombardi, Mark Byers, and everybody here at Hershey. For Mark Shuey, the coach Gary Sutton, Mount Carmel strikes it again, 26-6 with a win against Aliquippa. We've got Erie Cathedral Prep in Central Bucks coming up later today at 5. See you then. Good afternoon, everybody.